I had an interesting conversation just a little bit ago with Natasha. She had the question. She's been approached by a local preschool that is interested in having her studio come in and teach some enrichment classes for the kids that are going through their little preschool program. And she was just wondering, hey, what should we charge them? Or is this even something that we should be looking at? And I have some pretty strong opinions on that, go figure. Thought I'd share a little bit of my thoughts about it if that would be helpful to somebody else, because I know this is a subject that comes up every once in a while. So let's imagine that this preschool, first of all, the reason the preschool is doing this is because they want to make sure that they have enough enrichment programs to kind of make their own offer compelling for parents that are coming in and considering, comparing them to the other daycares in town. And they want to make sure that they kind of just have enough things going on that it seems more attractive than the other option that's down the street. It's a fairly competitive market in most areas. And they would rather not staff specialized staff. They would rather have you find the staff and train the staff and then bring them over. And so it's worth it to them to pay you a little bit more than they would pay an individual instructor, because it passes some of that liability and some of that work on to you. Okay. Let's say, for example, though, that you're going to charge them $60 an hour and they're going to have you come in and teach a couple hours, a day, a couple times a week, and something like that. So you're making, $1,000 a month off of something like that in income. And then, of course, you have to pay the instructor and whatever other things go along with that. So not a super profitable thing. And we're not doing this because the profit exists directly from them compensating us for teaching the classes. The only way that I think that it makes sense to do this kind of thing is if there's a very clear and understood and systematic way to get the students from those programs into your studio and into ongoing long-term programs in your studio. Now, quite frankly, sometimes that's just sort of a conflict of interest with these preschool programs, and so it might not work with everyone. If there's a way for you to do a little 6-week intro to dance, and it's obviously a preparatory thing, the idea is, hey, we're teaching this intro to dance thing. It's only 6 weeks long, and the idea is to get your kids ready to come in and participate in actual dance classes at the studio, and then you have a little graduation at the end of the 6 weeks at your studio, and then there's a pitch to upgrade people to ongoing classes in your studio. If you have a system or something like that in place, it can absolutely be a profitable thing, but that's kind of the only scenario where it would make sense for me to do that. And I'm not even sure that, it would have to be a pretty compelling offer for me to even accept that, because it's just simply so easy to enroll those students into preschool classes during the day at your studio anyway. Like, we just kind of have that piece figured out. So, let's imagine that you're doing really well on one of these, preschool dance programs, making however much you're making $1,000 a month or something off of something like that. But you start doing the math and you say, okay, well, the average student value for me for, a one time a week preschool kid at my studio is like, it's probably something like $1,500, even if they're just coming in one time a week, if you're following the systems that we're teaching. So that's large down payments, longer term commitments, and those kind of things, even if it's just once a week. So at $1,500 a month, if you're enrolling just 2 students into that class every single month, $1,500 a year in the average student value. That's $3,000 a month if you're enrolling 2 students into that program. That's where you end up capping that out. So it's literally 3 times as valuable, even if you're only putting a couple of students into that program. Hope that math helps. Hope that's a little bit insightful for you guys. Most of the time, it's not a good deal to participate in those types of programs. Quite frankly, you're just better running your own daytime programs yourself. The other thing that I'll throw behind that as well is that instructors for daytime classes generally pretty easy to find. And if you're looking for preschool kids, you don't have to have, like a college degree or some kind of special certification most of the time to bring those people in. There are a ton of parents, for example, moms out there that would be interested in teaching a little class like that, but don't want to spend time in the evenings or the afternoons when their own kids are coming home from school, but would be willing to come in during the day. Super easy to find staff to cover that stuff, literally 3 or 4 times as profitable, even if you don't do a great job. So the only justification I have for it is if it's a fantastic, like a slam dunk system that you have in place that's marketing your own programs.